Hey folks, it's Marvin Cash, the host of the Articulate Fly, and we're back with another Western North Carolina fishing report with Dale Collins at Tuckaseegee Fly Shop. How you doing, Dale?
Doing good, man. Just wrapping up another day here at the shop.
You're like a production company, like out of one production into the next one, so I appreciate you making the time for me this evening.
Yeah, man, worked out perfect.
So, looking at your weather, looks like you are kind of living the rainforest dream in Bryson City these days. What are you seeing?
Well, it's I was talking actually to Brian Hester there. I think you interviewed him. Hooked Fly, maybe.
Yep, I know Hester.
Yeah. He was up and he was like, "Hey man, what should I do?" And I was like, "Well, hey, 2:00, it's going to come a thunderstorm, no matter where you're at, pretty much. And you can set an alarm, and it's going to be there." And sure enough, all weekend, 2:00 hit, and here comes some storms. By 5:00, they're gone. So honestly, that's the heat of the day anyway for us. So, fish up until noon, come eat some lunch, watch the storms go through, and then you can go hit the water in the evening. There's the rain's kind of kept everything a little bit cooler. So the rain's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah, so I guess really it's helped you out because it's keeping your trout bite alive and longer and at lower elevations, but I suspect it's messing up your smallmouth bite a little bit.
It is. You have to just kind of find those windows in the forecast where we may not have, much of a chance of storms. It seems like I was telling Bobby today in the shop, is like, I feel like we're in the doldrums. Like these storms are popping up and it's a 40% chance every day, but they're popping up every day and they just kind of sit and rain themselves out. It's not like a front that's pushing through, that's keying these storms up and they're moving. So you really just have to just pay attention to the weather forecast and find those days that where, the rivers are going to have 18 to 36 hours to clear themselves of the turbidity and the mud and the silt, I should say. And that way you can have a shot at some smallmouth.
Got it. Any suggestions for folks on tips and tactics for trout and smallmouth?
Yeah, for trout, I'd hit it in the morning, start early, we're meeting trips here as early as 6:30 in the morning and trying to be on the water at 7. And we're starting with dry flies. Did some blue lining. I didn't even take the nymph box with me. And it was great fishing all the way up until the thunderstorm came. But even the brook trout are sweating a little bit. That was a high elevation stream and the water hit 60 degrees. So I was kind of surprised to see that. But, so just dry droppers pretty much anywhere, whether it's, if you happen to be on a bigger creek, down the valley, you can do some hopper stuff and terrestrial work. And then, over on the smallmouth side of things, if you happen to hit that right, whether it's the Little Tennessee or the Tuck, you can do some poppers in some of the slower holes, deeper water. And then the streamers, nothing big, I don't like a flashy, 2-inch, minnow like Clouser pattern is fine. Murdoch minnow is good, type thing that's flashy. Really, you're just trying to agitate them to get that bite. So, you're gonna have to work for them, but they'll be there.
That's great. And we got a question from Preston. He wanted to know if the larger tribs of the Smalley rivers in your area hold smallmouth just like they do in Tennessee.
Yeah, great question. They do, and it surprises people a lot of times when, especially we're fishing for trout in Bryson City, and we're fishing a double nymph rig under an indicator, and we bring up a smallmouth. So I remember there's a couple trips we've hit a smallmouth in January even, and talk about a surprise. That was really bizarre. But absolutely, man, we can catch smallmouth on trips starting in really April. We'll start seeing smallmouth come alive depending on the water temp. Even the Jackson County delayed harvest section over here in Webster and Dillsboro, since they blew up that dam in Dillsboro, there's a little, shallow water dam, right there that Duke Energy used a little bit. They blew it up, and once they blew that up, we're starting to see more and more smallmouth moving further and further upstream towards Cullowhee. So I would say it's continuing to improve. We're seeing more numbers, and they're finally getting a little more size to them, and that's also a great indicator of our water quality. So I wouldn't say that, here lately it seems like we've had a lot of silt, debris in the water, a lot of construction happening in Cullowhee, but that's kind of comes with the territory, I guess. But Little Tennessee is fantastic. Good wading opportunities there as well. But it's just fun to get out there in the evenings, and you just put on some sandals or your Crocs and some swim trunks. You don't have to get all technical and with the wading boots and wet wading socks, waders. You can just go out there and do it, and just hole hop and have a good time.
Yeah, and so do you have feeder creeks that you might find smallies moving into that are big enough to worry about?
Man, I've got a picture of a good friend of ours that we were guiding up on Deep Creek. This is 2016 when this happened, but that was the drought year. We had all the wildfires. You probably remember that. We caught, it's probably a 2 or 3 pound smallmouth about 3 miles into the national park on Deep Creek. And this fish must have just been gorging itself on those small wild rainbows. But yeah, I mean, if the water ends up getting too muddy or too hot for the smallmouth, they will go up these tributaries. So if you're fishing, let's say the mouth of the Caney Fork and the Tuck down here south of Cullowhee, you'll probably find some smallmouth in the lower reaches of the Caney Fork. And same thing for of course, like I said, Deep Creek, but the Oconaluftee and certain parts of the Oconaluftee, that water temperature this afternoon was 72 degrees.
Yikes.
On the USGS gauge. So obviously you don't want to target trout there. But certainly there could be some bass in there.
Yeah, absolutely. And, folks, we love questions at the Articulate Fly. If you'll send us your questions either on our Instagram page or our Facebook page, if we read your questions, I'll send you some Articulate Fly swag. We'll enter you into a drawing for something cool from the shop at the end of the season. And Dale, before I let you hop, why don't you let folks know the 2 locations, your hours, and where to find you on the internet?
Absolutely. So tuckflyshop.com, that is open 24 hours a day, 365. So check us out there. Got a blog and online store and such. We are located Monday through Saturday in Bryson City and Silva. We are 9 to 5 in Silva. Somebody got mad and said, "Well, y'all are just running banking hours." Well, yes, sir. That's pretty much right. 9 to 5. And then in Bryson City, it's actually 10 to 2 Monday through Wednesday, and then 9 to 5 Thursday through Saturday. And we're closed now on Sunday as a result of all this COVID stuff. We just kind of had to switch everything up. So it's kind of the new norm is you make a plan and then you change it the next day. So we'll see.
What is it? Assess, improvise, and overcome?
Yeah, improvise, adapt, and overcome. Yeah, hoorah.
There you go. Well, listen, folks, get out there and catch a few. Tight lines, everybody. Tight lines, Dale.
You too, Marvin.